2002. Here are some fun facts for 2002.
Okay.
I was a senior in high school in 2002.
Hey, congrats. Finally, 2002. I was 10.
I was 9. Well,
And
8. Later 9.
What was your senior song?
It was Green Day.
Oh, Time of Your Life?
Time
Yeah.
of Life. And before we get into this list, I was a pity prom king. Voted out of pity.
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure that's the reason why. They're like, the poor kid? Gotta vote him.
Just kidding.
I like to think that we all here have collectively won awards just based on that.
I mean,
Out of pity.
We're all award winning here. Let's brag about it a little bit.
they literally gave us this channel out of pity.
That's yeah. They're like, you guys, okay, sure, go for it.
Enough with this pity party.
Enough with this pity party. We got a top 10 here. That's not that pity. Before we get started into the list, as always, we gotta shout out a few films that didn't make it. Of course, we're talking about The Ring, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, two very big movies that year, but they weren't really the greatest movies.
I think they kind of charted a course for like horror films and indie films like that.
That's still one of the most successful indie movies ever.
The Ring? No.
Well, maybe, but Big Fat Greek Wedding for sure.
Also, shout out, I did not put it on my list because I already got what I wanted, but this is, of course, the year of Two Towers, keeping the Lord of the Rings 3-year plan going.
It's gone.
Starting off, number 10, we have Hero, the Jet Li movie. As you know, we are honor bound to talk about any Jet Li movie.
We are. Yes.
This one is a crazy one. If you're a film student, you've probably already seen this movie.
You've seen the pictures. You've heard your professor talk about it.
Just rave about it. But it is great. Like, it's a great story. It uses color. It's every character separated by their own color. It's got moods based on the color, fighting styles based on the color. Yeah. So it's a very cool movie just to watch in general. Number 9, we have 28 Days Later. I was going to say that. I got ahead of myself. 28 Days Later, directed by Danny Boyle.
I credit this, not Walking Dead, not anything else, for bringing back zombies for just like way too long. And these were like fast.
Yeah, they're scary. They
scary
sprinted
zombies,
at you.
Yeah. Then you have Danny Boyle. What I love about Danny Boyle, and especially this movie, is that like I think the man could direct any kind of movie.
And he has.
And he has.
He's all over the place.
And it's awesome. And the soundtrack, it's intense. There's just so many good things about this movie. Man.
And I'm pretty sure it was written by Alex Garland.
That's right. And so it is the kind of like that, yeah. I mean, I don't think it was the introduction, but it's like this is where he kind of really steps up and knocks it out of the park. And then now we get at least one Alex Garland movie every few years.
And they're all weird. Number 8, we have Chicago. Take it away, Zachary.
This was my number 1 movie of the year. Occasionally, the Academy gets it right, and I think they did on Chicago. Chicago, if you're a theater nerd, you watch this movie all the time because it's the greatest musical ever put on film, in my opinion. Rob Marshall directed the crap out of this movie. All the performances are great. Renee Zellweger won the Oscar for it. Queen Latifah's amazing. Richard Gere's great. The soundtrack is, it's a 50, 60-year-old musical, so the soundtrack is awesome. But what makes this movie stand out to me for a movie is all the musical pieces take place in Renee Zellweger's mind.
Well, you know what movie beat Chicago in our top 10? I'm, of course, talking about number 7, one of the greatest masterpieces ever in the world. And of course, I'm talking about Blade 2. Guillermo del Toro just knocks it out of the park. Takes a very, the story of this is like, wow, this is another dumb vampire movie. But the way Del Toro directs it, the way Wesley Snipes just takes it so seriously.
Yes.
Ron Perlman.
Yep.
Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Chris Christopherson. The action, CGI, it was hit or miss back then.
Yeah.
But you take it or leave it.
Oh, and I think, too, this sets, what people forget about Blade 2, and they should never forget about it, is that this was really, if you don't count, Batman, like Batman Returns and the Superman movies, like this was the first modern day superhero sequel, and I think really sets up a lot of the things we see even still today. I mean, like this, you're talking like hey, you got to team up with the bad guy eventually. You gotta, you gotta question your morals a little bit. You gotta, all this other stuff, and it's just really cool that like, I don't know why people don't talk about it more. We talk about Blade kind of kicking things off, but like also, yeah, Blade Trinity. Oh my God, sorry, Blade 2.
Our next movie is probably the reason why people don't talk about Blade 2 that much. And number 6 is Spider-Man. It basically redefined superhero movies. Whereas Blade set the standard and allowed X-Men and Spider-Man to come along, Spider-Man really just like in a post 9/11 world, really just like knocked out like what everyone needed at that moment. It was like you needed a superhero that was fighting a crazy goblin dude played by Willem Dafoe. Tobey Maguire, kind of old for the role at the time, but it was okay because his acting was so on point. Kirsten Dunst, amazing.
Danny Elfman's score is iconic. Great. Like, just oh man, there's a reason why No Way Home works, and it's I think because of like what like this movie. So
yeah, and on top of everything else, Sam Raimi directed it, and he's just Sam Raimi all over the place. It is gloriously cheesy. The very last shot, as you said, post 9/11, is him hanging onto the American flag and jumps off.
Oh, and even the scene where the New Yorkers like throw stuff at Goblin, I think that was directly written after. It's just it was a cool, like, I think everyone will remember, or everyone who was alive, like 2002, that mood. You go see Spider-Man that summer and you're like, whoa, like this is
We are in film bro country right now. We're just driving down that freeway 120 miles an hour, and we're jumping out the window into another window, talking about the Bourne Identity.
Yeah.
What a crazy movie that destroyed action movies for like 10 years.
Everyone tried to copy it with the shaky cam and the...
It's like,
but no, I think you forget, this one isn't as shaky. This is not as shaky. This is a Paul Greengrass one. Right, yeah. No, this is the Doug Liman one.
You're right.
This is Doug Liman.
It's not as shaky. It's still shaky.
But it was the more like the hyper real, very like I'm gonna grab a book and punch a dude 5 times. It's like, and that's not what makes it great. I think what makes it great is like the mystery surrounding it. And I think that's why the other ones aren't as good to me. But like, yeah, and Matt Damon, we'd never seen Matt Damon like that.
Just a masterclass in espionage and action. It's what James Bond was failing to be for so long.
Well, I was going to say the same thing.
And then they just copied it. Number 4, my number 1. It's a Martin Scorsese movie, Gangs of New York. A lot of people at the time, it got positive reviews, but it was mixed. I remember it was a 2 DVD.
Oh, I have that. Yeah. Oh yeah, my dad had it, which is
Leonardo DiCaprio in a role he obviously later on he just went crazy and took all kinds of roles to try to win an Oscar. But this was his first serious attempt since Gilbert Grape to like try to win an Oscar. But he's not the star of the movie, obviously. Daniel Day-Lewis as the Butcher is just amazing. I could talk about him for hours. I could talk about John C. Reilly in this movie forever. I could talk about Liam Neeson, who was only in for a cup of coffee. But they literally turned downtown New York into the same time period that they were filming in and just like transformed it entirely. And Scorsese, just, oh my God, I could talk forever. Number 3, another crazy yelly man, Punch Drunk Love.
Ooh, yeah.
Adam Sandler. I think it's like
this was his first
serious turn, and it's amazing.
His performance is outstanding. Like obviously Paul Thomas Anderson is one of the greatest directors alive right now, and this is his take on a romantic comedy, and it is just as weird as you would expect it, but it's like super sweet and heartfelt while also being bizarre, and all the PTA stuff, and that's what I love about it so much. Is like it has a lot of heart in it, but it's also, it'll just cut to colors for like 30 seconds with like VO over it. And then Philip Seymour Hoffman is in 2 scenes in this movie, and he steals both of those scenes because he's Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Back to Leonardo DiCaprio, we have number 2. He worked with Spielberg and Scorsese, same year. Catch Me If You Can, Tom Hanks.
Modern Spielberg, if you can still call that era modern now. The man won't stop making movies. This to me is one of my favorite Spielbergs. After kind of that like childhood like romance of big epic blockbusters. Like this to me, I love this movie. I think it's well cast, it's well shot. I mean, it's just it blows by the time. I mean,
that's my big thing. It goes so fast.
Well paced.
Another Spielberg. He dropped us 2 again. He did it again. This madman. 10 years later, basically, I think. Minority Report. Talk about a roller coaster movie that's cinema. Minority Report just has everything. Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, stacked cast. I love this movie. The sick gun, the crazy technology that's basically like Big Brother has come true.
Yeah, and like they kind of got iPads before iPads were a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like with all the cool special effects and stuff.
It looks cool. It looks so different at the time.
Mm-hmm. At the time,
than like anything else we had seen. I always think about the one scene where he has no eye. I mean, he's doing the eye transplant. Yeah. He has to dunk himself in the bath. Also, he grabs the disgusting stuff out of the fridge. Like that whole thing, and the scanners start looking for him. Just like intense. There are parts of this movie that are like sci-fi, that are horror, that are action, and man, like even the end when like the whole setup of the twist and kind of the reveal and what he's doing. It's dark and it's scary, and I love it. And Colin Farrell,
it's almost like Spielberg makes really good movies. Something about him.
Yeah. Until he kind of stopped.
But then he made West Side Story.
No. Let's not start that. Yeah. I will say Spielberg has a knack for, just like Danny Boyle, dude can make almost any movie and make it work. Like considering, like if you compare Catch Me If You Can versus Minority Report, you wouldn't even, if you didn't know who the director was, you're like, this is 2 completely separate people that made these movies. That's our list. 20 years in the making. What'd you guys just do?
I did this.
I saluted, and then it kind of
it was the same time. That was weird.
You guys are on some kind of different synergy I don't have. Anyways, we'll be back for 2003.
Un esercito di prodi